Oh, welcome back to Halftime here on the Bulldog Football Radio Network. Joining us this afternoon, Troy Johnson, who is no stranger to the Orangeburg community, having grown up in the Orangeburg area. But, Troy, you've had many different positions throughout your football career. Tell us what you do for South Carolina State.
Thanks, Ernest, man. I am the assistant AD for football and chief of staff for the football staff here at Bulldog Football.
Now, people don't know what you do, and to be honest with you, I can't tell you exactly what you do, but tell us what your role here is for the football team.
Well, I wear a few different hats. Probably the biggest one, I would serve as the director of football operations. And with that role, I'm in charge of all of the day-to-day logistical things that happens for Bulldog football. So from travel to meal coordination to ground transportation to air transportation to anything that helps us move in a way that we need to when it comes to our road games and preparation for games. So that falls underneath the football operations side of it. As the football chief of staff, I help Coach Berry with all of the staff decisions, kind of serve as a liaison between the athletic administration and our football staff. Also kind of help him with onboarding along with our associate AD for internal operations, Sydney Fulton. So we kind of coordinate a lot of those things and piggyback off of one another when it comes to that.
Now, you have to tell folks, so those Bulldog fans out there listening, that knowing you and knowing that you were at South Carolina State a long time ago, tell us how you got started and how you matriculated through, because this is really a story where a guy who started in one position and you are where you are today.
Yeah, I got to give credit to the people that hired me initially, right? Miss Charlene Johnson, who was our athletic director at the time, Dr. Octavia Muro, who was the associate AD, and Coach Buddy Pugh, right? I started off as the equipment manager here for South Carolina State, probably fresh out of college. I was about 23, 24 years old, and serving as the Division I head equipment manager. I was probably one of the youngest in the country at the time, back in 2004, 2005 when I got the nod. But I spent several years in equipment. Started here, like I said, at South Carolina State. Stayed here for 2.5 years, and then I transitioned to Middle Tennessee and worked for a really, really good friend of mine, really good mentor, in Rick Stockstill for Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. I was the first full-time equipment manager there. And I stayed there for about 5.5 years. And then I took a job with Rydell selling helmets and shoulder pads, which brought me back to South Carolina. And then after 2.5 years of working with Rydell, I decided, like a crazy person, to get back into college athletics. And I got back into equipment. And I guess you can say since that day, I've been kind of a journeyman through the HBCU world, in SWAC play and MEAC play. Spent some time in OVC at Tennessee State as well. So from Pine Bluff to Morgan State to Tennessee State to Mississippi Valley to Jackson State, and then finally stepping out of the equipment world and into the administrative role at Florida A&M as assistant AD for football and football operations there before I came back home. Was
that a natural transition to go from the equipment world into, I guess, administration, so to speak, from the standpoint from where you are right now?
Well, it kind of sort of is. And the reason I say that is when you're an equipment manager, you are organizing and you're planning a lot. You know, you plan your travel for your equipment truck and your staff and you're managing budgets and you're dealing with all of the coaches because they have to come through your area at some point in time when it comes to equipment. So I think it's an easy transition from the equipment side to an administrative side because you're already working with everybody, you know, and you, as an equipment guy, you have to have the players in the forefront of your mind. And as an administrator, you have to do the same thing as well. You know, you always have to be player oriented and student athlete oriented. And so I think it helps. And it was a smooth transition.
We're talking with Troy Johnson of South Carolina State. We're going to take a time out here at halftime. South Carolina State, it's the halftime show with Troy Johnson. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll have more. You're listening to the South Carolina State Bulldog Football Radio Network.